Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a Home for the Horror Days edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. It's Kwanzaa. It's Kwanzaa. I don't know any Kwanzaa carols.
Happy Hanukkah song and
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah.
Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel.
The dreidel song. There you go.
Yeah, look, it's the festive
Winter
holiday.
solstice. Winter solstice.
Oh, this is great.
It is great, yes. It's great to spend the holidays with family, right?
Yeah,
because we
right,
are family.
exactly.
The monster
Yes.
family.
Oh, yeah.
That's
The
right.
Monster Party family.
Thanks
Yep.
for listening, because you listeners, you are our family too.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
why don't we introduce the family? I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I am Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
And I am Squeaky from.
No.
Different family.
No, but we are so thrilled that you listeners are listening to us,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
holidays here.
That's right.
And one of the reasons we wanted to do this intimate episode is that we know that sometimes the holidays can be difficult for people. It's not always, jingle and
That's right.
jangle and holly and mistletoe. It
right.
sometimes can be a lonely event. And so why not spend your holidays with us?
Yeah.
And we'll share some of our stories and some of our past experiences and maybe growing up and over the years, maybe throw in a little New Year's too. Who knows?
Sure. What are we calling this special episode?
Well, Larry, I'm going to get to that. I would like to welcome everyone to Monster Party Holiday Memories.
Monster Party Holiday Memories.
Holiday
they're
memories.
so-
Remember?
Yes.
Holiday
Remember
memories.
the thing?
Yes.
Oh,
they're-
here I am. Look, remember that day? Ring, 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 ring. That's my flashback sound. Yeah.
No, but it's like, the holidays are special, and sometimes things happen at the holidays that are
Yes,
very
yes,
memorable
they
for
do.
you. Sometimes they're just warm and fuzzy, and sometimes maybe not so fuzzy that you hold on to for year after year
Yes.
after year.
Oh,
Sure.
I see where this is going.
Oh, you have no
Some of
idea.
childhood memories,
No
a lot of
idea. Well,
growing up around
yes.
Well,
Christmas.
Before we got on the air here, Larry was intimating that he had quite a few stories to tell.
I do.
And we do know that when Larry has a story to tell, it usually involves some sort of injustice that was done to him.
Look,
Grievance.
Grievances, thank you.
I don't want to make this into welcome to Larry's holiday memories. But
Holiday
No, but you will.
grievances.
But you will anyway.
No. But let's face it, guys. Let's face it. We all have fond memories of certain things, but then there are those other things that happen which just make you so irritated and get you so angry and you just can't let go, right?
Sure.
Yes. Well, as leader of Monster Party, I allow you now to tell your story.
Okay, well, let me share
One of your stories.
Let me share you one of my wonderful holiday memories.
And this is under 20 minutes, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, all right, just wanna make sure.
Okay. Now look, if for listeners of Monster Party, you've been listening for a while, I'm sure you remember about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, this is a story about family, bringing family members together.
Yeah.
Perhaps you too have a family moments where you bring up happy moments or grievances or
Yes.
discuss past wrongs, but it's all
Okay, let's get to it.
Yes, it's quite an introduction.
Yeah.
Well, this
If the introductions are this long,
Okay.
then
No.
be a 4-hour episode.
Okay. Look, if you're a regular listener to Monster Party, I'm sure you recall about 5 years ago, I brought up this story about how one of my famous monster magazines, issue number 139, when I got this in the mail, this is, back in like 77.
Yeah.
I look at it, I'm all excited, and one of my older brothers took it and defaced it. He drew all these pictures in there, like there's a picture of a caveman bending over, and he drew a little piece of poop coming out, and he puts poop on it, and he has the caveman going,
That's nice that he identified it.
No, I showed you these pictures, and there's a picture of an alien, and he put, sell this flying saucer, and stuff.
That's good.
Throughout the entire, and then there's a classic picture of Gort, and then he makes Gort holding a martini, and stuff like that. Now here's the thing. Okay, so this was done by one of my older brothers, and you know who you are if you're listening. I'm not going to say your name. He defaced it,
Yes.
And look, these pictures that he drew, they were very well done, like a professional. And yes, the drawn images, they were funny. Yes.
But
it was my famous Monsters magazine that he had defaced. Now, this was back in 77. Okay. Well, about 5 years ago, I brought it to the family holiday party where all my brothers and sisters get together. And we're all having a good time. And then I had to bring up this grievance. Yeah. Hey, you remember this? And of course,
so unlike you.
And I know it's so unlike me at a holiday party, and I just show all my brothers and sisters, and all my brothers and sisters started laughing. They go,
of course, yes,
that's so funny. And my older brother felt bad. Of course, he didn't remember.
Perfect.
He didn't remember, and for
yes, he did.
No, I believe him. He doesn't remember, but for listeners,
that's that sociopath kind of forgetting.
No. He's really a lovely guy. But
I'm sure he is.
If you're not sure which issue it is, it has the picture of Darth Vader and C-3PO on the cover, and it's a photo of them in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater, and they're getting their footprints put in the cement. Okay,
famous
this
moment.
Was a big deal. Yeah. So that was a special issue. Well, anyway, I brought this up at the holiday dinner, and my brother felt bad, and he said, "Look, I'm so sorry. I promise I'm going to get you a new one." I'm all right, okay. And I showed him what issue it was.
Okay.
And the next Christmas came by, and of course, the family gets together, and I said, "So, hey, I wonder if I was going to get that famous monster issue." Oh, he forgot. And of course, no. So this went on year after year.
Years.
Yes, years.
Wow.
Well,
do you think he genuinely forgot, or is he just playing?
Well, it's like I would bring it up every holiday.
Right.
Christmas holiday, hey, buddy. So, remember, he goes, "Oh, Larry, I forgot." Well, yeah, it's like, you don't know where to look. Have you ever heard of a thing called eBay? Boy, I'm just giving him all kinds of shit, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm never going to get it. Well, guys, I want to let you know.
Uh-oh.
It's the holiday. Would you believe at this last holiday get-together with my family, my older brother comes up to me and says, "Larry, I got something for you." And he gives me this gift. I go, "Oh, no." I open it up, and I take out 2 issues of Famous Monsters. And I'm all, and he goes, "Larry, I couldn't remember which one I defaced." So
hey, all right.
So what he did is he got me issue number 139 and issue number 137. He knew it had a Star Wars character on it, but he couldn't remember which one, even though I had told him so many times.
That's cool, though.
Bless his heart.
The Christmas miracle.
It is.
That is very nice.
It is truly a Christmas miracle.
Except.
No. And he came with a nice little card.
Okay.
He drew a little picture, and so this wrong has been righted.
Thank God.
Well, I feel like
has it though?
Yes,
well,
it has.
If I could just interject for a brief moment here. Now, this is something that he did that ruined a beloved piece of memorabilia that you own.
Right.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And so why then is the way that he makes this up is to give this to you as a Christmas present. Like this should just be a regular thing.
Well, here's okay.
Like,
Look,
hey, Merry Christmas! I got you. Remember that table that I set on fire? I got you a replacement. Woo!
So first of all, Matt, it's not like he set my Star Trek Mission to Gamma 6 playset on fire.
He wanted to.
This is an issue that, look, you can pick it up for anywhere $10, $15, $20.
It's not super rare, right?
It's not super rare. You can
then
get
why
it
was it not purchased earlier?
That's
because the minute he walks out the door, you no longer exist.
No. I know.
Classic narcissist.
But you know what would have been perfect is if he had defaced the new one he gave you too.
Yeah,
you opened it up and like,
even worse. Yeah.
James, it's funny.
Pornographic and right.
James, it's funny you should say it because the first thing I did is I looked through it to make sure that all the pages were okay.
Were they in good shape? The issues?
Yeah. It's
cool.
in good shape.
Wait a minute. I heard a little hesitancy.
No.
Well,
There's no hesitation.
That was okay.
Look,
the spine's a little, but all right.
Listen. We are all collectors, and we understand if you get a comic or a magazine from, let's say, the 70s, there's something that's considered mint. Not even touched. The spine is perfect.
Right.
Look. It's a fine.
So he owes you another one.
No, he doesn't. He's fine. And I just wanted to say to him, thank you so much to my older brother. It means the world to me. And
the ironic surprise ending is that in order to buy him a gift, you had to sell your entire Famous Monsters collection. So that ended up meaning nothing.
Okay.
The Magi.
No. Yeah. I'll tell you what I did. Because it shows what a great brother I am. Okay. And I'll just on a side note. So his birthday is around Thanksgiving. So it's like my family gets together at Thanksgiving. We all get together and then in Christmas. Okay. Well, I was going through a bunch of my old artwork and I found this artwork that he did back in 1973 and it was gorgeous. And he did this. Remember when Jaws came out and everyone was drawing sharks? He did this beautiful shark picture in charcoal with this very sexy woman swimming under the water.
Ooh.
I don't know why I had it in my artwork. I think my mom accidentally put it in, with a couple other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get him to start drawing again because he hasn't drawn in like 30 years. I took that shark picture and I got it framed. I got a nice matting, a nice framed, and I gave it to him for his birthday at Thanksgiving. And he totally forgot about it. Everyone was just, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I go, yeah, and look, he put a date on it. It's like 1974, I think it was. And it looked great. And I said, this is, hopefully you can put it on your wall and inspire you to start drawing again because you're such a talented artist.
That's cool.
I'd rather have you put that up on the wall than my famous monster pictures that he drew poop coming out of a caveman. So anyway, that's the kind of brother I am.
That's a cool story, though. I like that.
It's funny how this came around to how great you are.
But, see, I thought you were going to say you found the drawing. I thought you were going to say you found the drawing and you defaced it.
Oh yeah.
See how you feel now.
Okay. No.
You know what I think? I think you should have gone to his home and drawn pictures of aliens pooping and stuff on the side of his house.
He's going to listen to this episode. He's going to go, oh, Matt, boy, he's telling me to draw aliens pooping.
Hey, come on, he's got a sense of humor.
He does. But anyway, I wanted to share that.
Well, that's great. That's good. And I'm glad we're talking about presents because if it's okay, I would like to introduce the idea of presents for this next round because right now I'm in a place where I've hit the mother load. Like my wife is so great when it comes to presents. Like the first time, I think it was the first Christmas that we ever spent together. Before Christmas, we had gone to Kimono My House in Emeryville.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that place.
And we walked around, and there was this older Japanese guy who was always running the place, and we got to be friends with him. And I always wanted a Kamen Rider belt, one of the driver belts. And they had this great toy, and I think it was, I don't know, maybe, I think it was at least $100, but I think more. And sure enough, Christmas morning, she had purchased this thing and it lights up and it
Oh.
spins and like that's not like, oh, this is stupid and I don't even know why you're into this stuff. That is not who I married. I
Right,
married
right.
a wonderful, lovely lady who revels in this stuff. Even if she's not all that into that specific thing herself, she
Right.
appreciates why I like it. And I think, to be honest, I think she did watch many a Common Writer show with me. So
Right.
she has put in the work. But now, so those are good presents. But what about the other presents growing up? Have you ever had this happen? And I'm guessing Larry's going to go, no, that never happened to me. But I'm an idiot. So this is what happened a few Christmases. Have you ever had this happen where you're looking in the Sears catalog or you're watching a commercial and you go, wow, that's cool. I want that thing. And you know how it is when you're a kid, you got really two days. You got your birthday and you got Christmas. And so you got to choose wisely.
Or Easter, and then, there's...
Fuck you. Go
Groundhog Day.
Easter, unbelievable.
Arbor Day.
I was lucky to get some
Flag Day.
malted milk eggs and a fucking chocolate bunny.
All right. So Sears...
Anyway, okay. So great. So you got what other... We'll go back to what you get on St. Patty's Day and everything else. But okay,
Lincoln's birthday.
Lincoln's birthday. Sure, you get a beard. You get a hat with a hole in it. So there was this one year where there was this thing called spin welder. And what spin welder was it was this set, and it had these girders, like these little plastic girders, and you got a gun that was a welder, and what it would do is it had a plastic tip that you would put on the end, and when the thing would spin, it would heat up, and that would act as a weld, so you could make things with these girders.
Erector
erector
set.
set? Was it?
But no, because the erector set was good. This was something that, like, I'm watching them do it on the commercial, and the kids welding things. I'm like, wow, cool, welding. That seems like it's going to be great. Hours of fun.
And safe.
And safe, and I can eat all the little welding tips, and nothing's going to happen to me. So they show, like, the deluxe set you can make. I forget the different things, but like the main thing was that you could make a car, and it looked like kind of a Formula One racer. Mm-hmm. And so you would weld the girders together, and there were panels then that you could put for the car and wheels. And then at the end, you could use the spin part of your welder to power the car.
Oh.
So then the car would race.
Wow.
And look, I was drawn in by the fucking bullshit spell that they put on me.
Right.
How old were you at this point? How old were you?
I was 30. Yeah, I was in my late 40s.
So it's like Christmas 74, 75.
Something like that. Yeah, it was. I think I was pretty much. I'm pretty sure I was preteen.
Right.
So I asked for this. Of all the fucking things I could ask for, Mego figures, whatever. No. The spin welder racer kit. So here comes Christmas. I get it. And I'm like, yay! And I'm welding and putting this thing together. and I get this thing made in about, I don't know, 20 minutes tops.
Okay.
With the panels and everything else. And I put the little welder in the wheel, and it, moves 6 feet. Yay! Fun! What you don't realize, too, is that a weld that is made with a spinning piece of plastic isn't the most sturdy weld.
Right.
Oh.
So I've got this. Now, that's the other thing, too, is that I've now used up all the pieces.
Oh.
So unless someone is mailing me every month a whole new set of girders and panels, that's it. It's done.
Right. Oh.
So now I've got this fucking rickety Formula One shitty fucking car. So yeah, I get up in the morning and I put my little welder drill in the side of the wheel, and oh, hey, it went another 6 feet. Great. Oh, the panel came off. Oh, the back chassis now has fallen. Oh, I better weld it back. Oh, wait a minute. I can't weld it back on because I don't have any more welding tips.
Oh,
That seems like a flaw in the marketing of the toy, though, too. You know?
Oh no! By design, it forces the parents to
Oh,
go
yeah,
out and
true.
get
That's
more
true.
welding stuff.
Oh,
For those who can afford it, yeah.
Oh, and Larry, I did ask. Hey, Mom, Dad, my car fell apart and I need some more welding tips. What are you talking about? What? Yeah. We need to buy food.
Right.
You can't spend money on your shitty welding tips for the thing that you hate.
And in all these years, you haven't welded since.
You know what? That's when I realized, James, welding was not in the cards for me.
I guess.
My brother worked with airplanes and motorcycles. He was one of those guys, and he would weld things. He had the little torch, and he would weld things, and I would just walk by him and grimace.
That's why you hate. That's why you hate Flash Jams, because she welds in that movie.
You know what? Sean, Flashdance almost had me back. It was very. But then it was
pretty erotic when she did it, I guess.
Yeah, but it was Flashdance is the one with the water, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And the water happened.
The water.
The water, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then as soon as the juices started to flow in my body from that moment, I heard the sound of that little spin drill, like tinnitus. And that was the first of a few other bad choices, let's just say. And look, I did get some other presents from different people that kind of helped make up for it. But you know how it is, especially with your parents. It's like, I wasted Christmas. That's a shot Christmas.
Yeah, right.
I totally fucked it up. And for a while, I kept the little car thing, on my shelf, and I just look at it and go, why? Why do I always make bad choices?
That reminds me a little bit in a different way. Like as a kid, I like to put model kits together. I was into model, but especially obviously the first ones, like many of us, were the Aurora monster model kits, right?
Yeah.
Those are some of my first like toys, that I got, and I would get those for Christmas as a young kid. And I did put some, like, I for a very brief period, I got into like airplanes, like World War II airplane models, but not like the really super elaborate ones. I mean, but I dabbled in that a little bit, but it was mostly the monster and superhero model kits. But I do kind of remember vaguely, like some Christmases, like an aunt or friend or somebody would buy me a model kit for Christmas because they knew I was into model, but it was like, a Formula One race car thing that was like so complicated. Thanks. And like it looks cool. But then days, weeks would go by and my parents would be like, have you put that model kit together? Because Aunt Audrey's going to come over and she wants to see that you put that thing together. It's like, fuck,
So you didn't say, well, Dad, I'd really like to, but it's just not a monster model.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking, right?
No, those things were like auto shop training because you had to put the chassis together. It was like building an actual car.
Yeah, I was never into the. I mean, I liked seeing if some other friend had one that was built. It's like that's cool, that's great. But if it wasn't maybe a spaceship or something, I would be more into. But
and then to paint it too, like most of the time you didn't get spray paints, you got like little brush paints, so that always looked horrible, especially on a car. I got one year like an old timey sailing ship, but like a really intricate model.
I never got into the sailing
riggings. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god, yeah, those. I wouldn't go near. That was like,
and it was like you had to thread all the riggings, and I think at one point I actually did make it.
Wow, so I would never.
But you know how it is. It's like when you look at the box and then you look at what you did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that definitely happened a couple of times where I either had to force myself to half-ass make it or I just put it away and hid it or something. But like that's why also though I got really excited when they start putting out the snap together kits that didn't require glue, like the prehistoric scenes. Those are great because they were kind of like toys. They moved and you didn't have to paint them. They were already kind of one color that was kind of cool.
I still use the glue. I still use the glue.
Did you?
I
Okay.
did.
Yeah, you know what? I did
Come
too, because you
on.
wanted
If
to,
you had
be
to for some-
sturdy.
yeah. But that was so much more convenient. But I did have sometimes that conundrum with like the super
Yeah.
elaborate kits. Like, oh my gosh, I have to put this thing. I just
I
give
know,
me
like-
Amigo figure, and I'll just
look-
play with that now.
Look at how old I am. What do you think I am here?
Yeah. And there were I did
The
have
particle
friends,
accelerator.
yeah,
Fun,
and I did
fun
have
for all ages.
And I knew some kids who like really were my age and they were really good at that stuff. Like they were,
I
I was
hated
like,
those
oh my
kids.
God, like how did you do that? That paint job is insane.
Yeah.
And I was pretty
Patience.
good with painting, but yeah, that was like, wow.
If it
that was
I
out of
had
my
no
league.
patience back then.
If it wasn't
Yeah.
a monster or a dinosaur,
Yeah,
I'd
exactly.
like, you know.
Yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with a model kit too, especially when you're young, those kind of model kits, especially because they're a model, they are fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And so
right.
if you put it away or something's going to happen. The wheels are going to fall
Yeah.
off or the glue degrades.
Yeah,
And
true.
then the engine drops and it's a nightmare.
Sean, my favorite color paint was red. If I can't put red on a model to imply blood, like in the
Right,
dinosaur's
right.
mouth or the
Yeah.
monsters, in my Frankenstein model, I had his back shot with these blood spatters all over him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I want a car? I mean, what? I'm going to make a crashed car with a body in it? I mean,
And also Larry, I think you've talked about this before, but is it the prehistoric scenes Allosaurus had the drool coming out?
The drool, right.
Should have been painted red like it's
I
blood.
did.
Not like,
I did.
yeah, because it was all strange to have that like always stuck on his
Molded
mouth.
drool is strange.
Yeah, yeah, like blood is cool.
and then
yeah.
what color do you paint the drool? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it's like, well, it's white or yellow. No, red.
Yeah, and
red,
white doesn't look right.
blood.
Yeah,
Blood.
I agree.
Red. Were you a Sammy Hagar fan, Larry? Because you like red so much.
What is that?
Never mind. It's something to do with rock music.
Okay, no.
Sammy Hagar had the song "Red." Red. I like
No,
red.
no.
There's no substitute for red. Paint it red. Some like it hot. I like it red, or something like that.
Well, James, how about you
Never
give
mind.
us a Christmas thing? Give us a
Well,
Christmas memory.
I will add to what Sean said. In Christmas 1973, I remember Christmas morning, I got the Aurora Mummy model kit, the Aurora King Kong, and the Aurora Godzilla.
Wow.
And but by that point, I'd gotten so good at putting them together. I think I put them all together by like 2 p.m.
But
Christmas
you got
Day,
three?
Wow.
You
Yeah.
got three?
Might have gotten more too. I just remember
Wow,
those.
good in one year. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good at putting them together and painting them.
No, painting. I never painted.
Painting's
them.
a different
I never
thing.
painted.
Really? Okay,
Never painted
okay.
them. Not that I can recall.
Well, when they were the glow in the dark ones, I didn't paint because I wanted to see how that
Yeah.
glow in the dark. You know,
Yeah.
see that.
ooh,
And plus, they were molded in colors like the mummy. You didn't have to paint. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
no, he required painting. They all
Really?
required painting.
Well,
yeah.
that-
Neither
there was-
red.
There was one version, and Larry, you might know this one, but there was one version that I had of Godzilla
yes.
that was molded in almost the perfect color, like Godzilla color.
green.
No,
It
no,
was
no.
like
This
a-
was
no.
no. It was not green. It was
Like
It was
gray?
like a bluish gray.
That's after I think that's after the glow kit.
It
because-
was. It
Oh,
was.
okay.
Yeah.
Because
Like
the first Godzilla to come out was pink. It was a
That's
pink.
right. That's the one I
Yeah.
have.
And that's
so
and
weird. What a weird
the funny thing
choice
is,
for
Yeah.
well,
color.
the interesting thing is
Yeah.
Matt's dad painted that.
Yes, he
And he
did.
did a beautiful job.
Oh, right.
It's rare. It's rare that you can find some that were kids put it together and kept it pink, but most kids wanted to paint it because Godzilla's not pink. Come
No.
on.
Yeah.
And
Strange
then
choice for
other
color.
people have tried to remove a kid's paint job or something because if you can find
Right.
one that's pink, it's worth a
Sure.
lot of money. And
Oh,
it's weird because for me as a Godzilla collector, I haven't had the desire. Gee, I need that first one, that pink. I really don't.
Nah.
The first
yeah.
one that I got was the glow one. But Sean, like you, what the funny thing is, it came with a glow head. It came with glow hands.
Yes.
It came with glow feet.
yeah.
And the funny thing is, for me, I looked at it and go, well, Godzilla's head doesn't glow, but his spines do. So
Yeah.
so I
Which
still
elf
have-
were you? I'm
No.
just curious.
So my Godzilla's spines are glow in the dark,
Yeah, that's cool.
but that's the only part of them. But I saved all the glow pieces.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
But
because
James-
you had an option, right?
Yeah, you had an option. It gave
Right,
you a glow
right.
option or
That's
not.
Which
right.
is very cool.
But
That
James,
is cool.
you got 3 monster models for
Free
one
that, probably
Christmas.
more that Christmas. Yeah, that was a good Christmas. But you know, a lot of times, like especially maybe even still now, I'm not keeping track, but back in the day, a lot of times there were like the must-have Christmas toys. And specifically, I remember the Christmas of 75 when the must-have toy was the Steve Austin $6 Million Man action figure.
Oh boy.
Oh.
It's not like I was the biggest fan of that show, but I had to have that toy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I
yeah.
did get it for Christmas. And that same Christmas, the Evil Knievel Rally Stunt Cycle. And again, I wasn't a huge fan of Evil Knievel, but
well,
I
that's
felt
great though.
I was prey to the marketing. It was cool. It was fun.
Me too. I had that too. And it same just like you, James. I was like, yeah, Evil Knievel was cool. It's not the great, but like that was just, you had to have that.
You had to have it because everybody, you know, that was the thing. You know, you were brainwashed by all the ads, and and there was nothing else. You know, nothing else on the radar. And I remember playing with those things Christmas morning. And the Steve Austin was limited. You know, you could. We've talked about the eye. You know, you can look through the eye, and it was
design flaw. Which was really stupid. Like it really is amazing that they did it that way. But it was cool. And see,
I put colors in his eyes so I could like trip out. So my version was like LSD Steve Austin.
Right. That's funny.
But I think that same Christmas I also got the Mego Batcave. And
oh my God! Well, this is a great Christmas.
I love that one. I love that mainly because of the bat signal. It had a battery operated bat signal, and that thing was so cool.
And it worked.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And back then too, like I mean, so much of my Christmases as a kid it was action figures. It was the GI Joe, the Adventure Team, 12-inch GI Joes, and those. Because they're 12 inches, all those play sets and vehicles for those things are huge. I mean, you know,
right? Yeah,
that mobile headquarters vehicle. They had this like training tower thing. It was like 3 feet tall. They had the helicopter. They were all amazing, and you know, that's incredible.
I always wanted that helicopter. I never got it as a kid, and then finally, like when eBay came around, I was an adult. I'm like, fuck it, I'm getting the helicopter for myself. I love it. I love it.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I went back and forth from GI Joe to like Big Jim because I thought I liked Big Jim because Big Jim looked like. You know, if you took the clothes off of G.I. Joe, not that I was always taking the clothes off, but, you know, you get lonely in your room. But Big Jim, his body was molded better. And then he had these gimmicks. He had a muscle that would grow in his arm.
Band.
And you'd break the muscle band. And he could do a karate chop with you press a button in the back and he'd do a karate chop. And
he was like a 20-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger almost. Really great shit. Yeah.
Really not made very well because the legs were held on with this little like white ball. And the white ball would, if you got a little too rough with them, you know, in your play, that thing would crack, and there's nothing you could do to glue it on to make it ever right again. It would always be terrible.
To me, they were like, he looked rugged, but he wasn't built as rugged as the G.I. Joes.
No, not at all.
And I never got into Big Jim though. I think mainly just because he was like, here's Big Jim. He's a camper. Ooh, wow!
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I see.
But G.I. Joe's in outer space. He's fighting.
I did love the camper, but
it's like he's a kid going camping.
Well, you know what? There were two great play sets, and I still have one of them. There was one that was a gorilla. This play set was with this gorilla, and then it had like a net launcher that you'd launch the net onto the gorilla. And the gorilla was cool because there was a little dial in his back. And when you would move the dial, his arms would do this kind of like grabbing motion.
And Matt, if I could just interrupt, the G.I. Joe had a pygmy gorilla.
Yeah, it was like half the size.
And he was half the size.
Better gorilla.
And the pygmy gorilla didn't move like the Big Jim one did.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
So please, Matt, continue.
So then the other one that I had that I think, like to get, because I do have a nice little shelf with some vintage Big Jims, but there was one that I got one year. It was a what do you call it? Like a Everglade hovercraft thing. I don't know what they're called, but it's like the boat that has the
fan
big
in the back.
Yes, whatever that is.
Okay,
a skiff or a fan boat. I don't know what that.
Oh, I didn't know they made that. Okay,
so you got that, but then you also got an alligator. And the alligator, if you put him on the vehicle or even on the ground, he would whip his tail and he'd squirm around. And it was a really well-made toy.
That's cool.
And I would
That's
love
cool.
to have that. I've seen them. They don't go for that much, but if you want to get them in nice shape, that's always the problem. But
Right.
I did like that, and I got some of those for Christmas over the years. But do you ever have this happen where somebody in your family who you never really relied on, an aunt, your great grandma, or somebody's not really in the nuclear family, and you never really expect anything because every year it's like some chocolates or a sweater they made. I got a shitty sweater that was like, oh. And then talk about like, Sean, when they come over and you're supposed to put this thing on.
Right.
Yeah, right. You're obligated. Right.
Yeah, right. So it was someone like that. And then one year, just out of nowhere, I was like, okay, what did they get me this time? And it's a Color Forms Outer Spacemen figure.
Oh,
You got the color from Aliens?
Yeah. Colossus
Wow.
Rex.
No.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
Oh.
From the last person in the world.
they
that I
probably
would
got the
expect.
intel from your parents, maybe, or somebody.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
it's
Yeah.
like every time he opens the presents, he seems to die a little inside.
Oh.
Well,
right. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that's cool. I remember one story about the G.I. Joes that I wanted to tell you, which I
Sure.
may have said this before, but again, it was the 70s adventure team G.I. Joes that was just my sweet spot. Not the military ones. I was into
No,
because
no.
the adventure teams, they were like, digging up mummies and finding, rare jewels and idols and all this cool.
Pygmy
And they
mummies.
came out with the Kung Fu Grip, which was great.
Kung Fu Grip, and also
game
but
changer.
along those same lines, one thing my parents are really cool about when we were kids, which I guess a lot of parents weren't, but mine were, they didn't make us wait till they woke up.
No, me too. Yeah.
So my sister and I, of course, we couldn't sleep. Finally, but we would probably be up like at 7 a.m., right?
Right.
I mean, they're still asleep. We go into the living room under the tree and start opening up our presents and playing with their toys. And one year when I was a little kid, one of the toys I got was the talking G.I. Joe Adventure Team Commander.
Nice.
So, and this was cool because it had the lifelike hair and beard, and it had the dog tag. The dog tag was a string that you pulled, and you said eight different commands. And my parents always loved to talk about how that year they were woken up by this talking G.I. Joe. And I've looked into the different commands that the doll said, and these are some of them. Like one was, "I've got a tough assignment for you," or
Remember that.
"This is going to be rough. Can you handle it?"
Yeah.
And the adventure team is needed in Africa. and my favorite one, my favorite one was mission accomplished. Good work, man. So I would be pulling this thing all morning, and of course, and it had that weird tinny kind of loud sound.
Sure.
Was there one that said? Was the one that said "Big Jim is lame"? I could kick his ass.
It should be, yeah. But yeah. So that woke them up, obviously, from because we were kind of trying to be quiet. But once I opened that thing, I had to open up and play with it.
Didn't the talking G.I. Joe have a thing where, like, on the string that you would pull, there were different colors on the string, so you could sort of gauge?
Yes, it was how far you pulled it. They had like a little guide, I think, on the inside of like the 8 different commands. And if you pulled it all the way, it would say 1. There was like little marks on the string. It was really clever.
That's cool.
Also, it was the adventure team was like an A and a T combined to make AT Adventure Team, and that was the dog tag. That was also really clever.
That is.
And it was cool. It's just that line of figures were just amazing. If I had the money, I would like repurchase all those original toys and all those play sets and vehicles. They were just amazing because they were kind of first, and then Mego came out, and Mego obviously was more affordable, and Mego I love too, but it was the G.I. Joes were kind of like the first action figures I was into.
And built to last, except for Kung Fu Grip.
Yeah,
which the rubber, great idea, but after a while, the fingers just deteriorate and rip off.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's plenty of listeners out there that are saying to themselves right about now, "Yeah, I was like Sean's family. My parents just stayed in their bed while me and my sister would get out and open gifts. But there are some families, some larger families, that weren't allowed that luxury.
Yeah.
Some families were locked in their room.
Locked?
Yes. So here's the story, Sean. Like, because I came from a large family,
right.
The day before Christmas, My parents are they're exhausted. They had 7 kids. They're and in the boys' room, we have 5 little boys in there. My parents had a lock that one of those locks that it was like a little lock that could just lock you in there, so you couldn't open the door.
Well, what if there's a fire in the house?
Okay.
That is fucked up.
Well, maybe I can tell my story. So
they strap you in the beds.
So I said to my mom before we all go to bed, "Well, Mom, what happens if I have to go to the bathroom?" And my mom goes, "Oh, we'll put a tin can in there." Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, my parents are going to leave like a giant coffee can in our bedroom. Okay. Well, guess what happens? Christmas morning, I get up. I got to pee like a racehorse. Okay. My brothers are there and there's no freaking can in the bedroom. So what do I got to do? I got to go to the window and piss out the window. That's what I had to do. And then, of course, my older brothers are laughing at me. And then they had a clever little way to jimmy open the lock that my parents had put up. But that's not the story.
This is like Oliver Twist. This explains a lot of why you are the way you are.
No,
this is like a show on the ID network where,
This is a Christmas story I wanted to tell. Now, what happens, Sean, when actually, this wouldn't have happened with you because you just had the sister. But Matt, okay, what happens when, let's say, you have a brother that gets something that you want for Christmas? Mm-hmm. It's what I call let's make a deal. Christmas 1979.
Yeah.
Now, if everyone remembers, the small Star Wars figures had come out along with Kenner's new large-scale Star Wars figures. Okay,
right.
And this was 79, and if we remember, Empire Strikes Out was scheduled to come out in May of 1980.
Right.
So Kenner already knew what figures were going to be made for Empire Strikes Back. So with this large figure line, they actually made a Boba Fett and an IG-88. Okay.
Right.
But I never thought I would have any of those figures. But for Christmas of 79, I have this package and I open it up and it's Luke Skywalker. Okay.
Ooh.
Well, that's cool. I wanted, but my younger brother opens up and he gets Chewbacca, which is the monster. And I wanted that. And of course, my younger brother was all excited and stuff. So what I decided to do is, I didn't try to make fun of it, but what I tried to do is try to get that Wookiee, and I tried to make a trade. And I said to him, hey, I'd be willing to trade my Luke Skywalker for the Wookiee because, you kind of look like Luke Skywalker. And Luke Skywalker, after all, is the main character of Star Wars. And my younger brother goes, yeah. And I go, that's just the Wookiee. He doesn't even say anything. He just kind of growls. He's kind of a monster, and I like monsters. So I convinced my brother to trade. So we actually traded Christmas gifts, and I was so excited. And I still have that Wookiee to this day with its box. And in addition to that, I do have the entire large action figure set from Star Wars.
So Larry, were your parents aware of that you were what the Wookiee more? They just figured just each give them a Star Wars figure.
Yeah. That's kind of what it was like. They would buy, and what they typically tried to do is try to find things that were on sale, that were being unloaded, and they would get 2 or 3 or 4 of something, and sometimes they'd put a kid's name on, not really think as to what they're getting. So,
I can see that you're right, because I never had that problem because I never wanted any of the toys that my sister got, and vice versa. Although there would be like my friends, I find, oh, you got that for Christmas? Man, I wish I had that. But I never had that rivalry. Yeah, but I never had.
I always did the trading with my friends.
Oh, you actually traded? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talking about waking up Christmas morning, I think one of my very first memories ever was I was probably 3 or 4, waking up before dawn. And I don't know if I was expecting Santa. I don't remember, because your memory back then is like, you don't know. But I remember I was the only one awake, and I went to the living room and the tree was lit. It was all dark, but the tree was lit and all the presents were under the tree. And I thought that was the most magical thing in the world. And that feeling doesn't go away,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And my parents even left a pillowcase next to the presents as if it was Santa's sack being having been emptied.
Oh,
And-
I thought this was going a different way.
No.
Like, hey, Santa, if you want to, take a little nap, it's a big,
Must be tired.
big night.
Right.
But that's one of those things that, like, you got to give parents credit for doing stuff like that, because it really is. It really does give magic to a kid. And
Yeah.
Christmas is really forged in our childhoods.
Yes,
in moments
for
like
sure.
that.
Well, that brings me to this, which is the whole Santa thing. When was it that you realized, okay, wait a minute?
Spoiler. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I think you're going to reveal the truth about Santa.
Oh,
Matt.
you know what?
Ixnay.
I hate to be that guy,
Oh.
but here I am. For me,
I don't know. For me,
I remember one year, I wake up, I go out there, and there is this mini toy airplane cockpit. It has the steering controls, and it had little headphones you could put on, and there was a thing that showed you if the plane was flying level, and it was pretty neat.
That's cool.
And it's all set up, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And I'm putting on the headphones, and I'm doing all this stuff, and I liked it. And then at one point, I forget what I'm doing. I'm in one of our guest room or whatever, some room that we stored things in, and I look in the closet just on accident, and there's the box.
Oh.
So that's how you found out. You remember that?
That's how. And I looked at the box and I went, And I never went to my parents and went, hey, but I just started putting it together in my head.
Right.
Of course, as a kid, I felt like I was always the last to figure something out. But
right.
Here I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, well, if Santa made this, why would he make a box for it?
Right.
And then I'm thinking back on all those specials, the Rankin Bass specials. I'm like, boy, it seems like what he's really good at is like a fucking wooden rocking horse.
Right.
Painted badly.
Or a wooden soldier.
This seems a little bit above his skills.
Yeah. Right. Why
And
is it
so-
saying Mattel on the corner?
Yeah, why does he have a deal with Mattel? How does this
Right,
work?
How old were you at this
27.
point? How old? Yeah.
God. 7, 8? Something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah. That's about how old I was.
Yeah.
Said I don't have any. I mean, I honestly don't remember the moment. I'm guessing. I don't know if I figured out on my own or my parents just eventually told me, but I do know that I don't think it was. There was nothing like traumatic about the event because it's like I'm just gonna still get toys, and I don't get like
Exactly right. That's how I felt too.
I do remember as a little kid though, like when I was really little, I do remember it must have been some party that I went to with my parents, and they had a bunch of parents there, and somebody dressed up as Santa Claus, and I think it was maybe like Christmas Eve, maybe, and my parent, they said, "Oh, it's Santa Claus," and I thought it really was Santa Claus. And hey, he has a gift for you. So I think they saved one gift from them that they gave him to give to me, and so I was like shocked because wow, it really is what I wanted from this Santa. So that was like wow, it really was Santa Claus. But I don't remember any kind of traumatic moment where like oh no, he doesn't exist because it was like
I was never
okay.
upset. I wasn't upset.
Oh, for me, I know, and I was 6. And it was, and I'll tell you, first of all, if you come from a large family, where can your parents possibly hide the gifts so your nosy little kids don't get them? There's only one place that they don't have access to, and that is the attic. The attic where the only way to get into the attic is to take the giant 8-foot ladder in the garage, bring it inside,
but
go
first
through a hole. Okay?
But first, they had to unlock your bedroom door to let you out. Right?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's where you had to go pee in the attic.
So what happened is it was early in the morning, and I think my dad was just so tired, that he left the ladder there in the freaking hallway. And I remember I'm like an inquisitive kid. Ooh, what's this? I climbed up the ladder, and I swear to God, Sean, I remember peering through the top, and when I saw it, it could have been dead bodies, but what it was a bunch of wrapped gifts, and I flipped out.
Did you put it together then?
at that moment.
Wow.
At that moment. And I thought to myself, what are these gifts? And they have Christmas wrapping paper. And what I didn't tell anybody, I didn't say anything. I
Right.
climbed back down the ladder and I just held on to this knowledge until Christmas morning, which was a week later. And I recognized some of the gifts that were wrapped
Right.
with that same
Right.
wrapping paper. And that's when I put two and two together,
Right.
and I didn't talk to my brothers or sisters. I didn't,
Right,
kind of
right.
like my own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happened.
Now that I think about it, I think one of the ways that it worked for me is I think my parents did the thing where they, when I was starting to doubt or question it, I think they were like, well, we get you some stuff and then the big cool stuff comes from Santa. It was
Yeah, I
like,
heard that.
Yeah, I heard that one. I heard that one.
That might have been how I eased out. Then eventually, like, oh, okay, I get they're all from you. But
No,
eventually, but I think that's what they did.
My mom just told me and my sister, and I was 7 and she was 5.
Wow.
And I remember distinctly we were sitting in the living room and she told us the truth about Santa, she told us the truth about the Easter Bunny, and she told us where babies come from. She decided to
Whoa!
just let it all out. I think she was frustrated with the lies and the insincerity.
And your sister was
And-
5 when she said
And my
told
sister
this?
was like 5. Yeah.
Did she say all this with like a cigarette dangling from her mouth and a bottle of whiskey in the other?
Had she been drinking?
My takeaway from it was that her attitude was, "You're so naive. You really believe that there's an Easter bunny?" I was like, "What the fuck?
Wow.
That's what you told me." I mean, that's what you
Did
left.
she just
You
keep
left the
going? Did she
pillowcase
just
out
go
there.
like, and you know what? Romantic love is a myth. It's a
And
lie.
the moon landing was faked.
Oh,
Kennedy,
now,
Kennedy.
now.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Kennedy, there was a
Yeah.
second gunman.
Wow.
And it was Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Wow, that's great.
we never had the
Oh.
talk. It was never
No,
brought up with
no,
the
me
parents.
neither.
Right.
So then, how did you guys deal with department store Santas? How did that affect you when you? Because I'm sure you all went to one at a
Yeah.
young age, right?
Yeah. I guess I did feel he was like showing up everywhere. I guess I don't know.
Even though I didn't believe in him, it was still a confrontational event. You had to sit on somebody's lap, so
Right.
it was still.
Weird.
I was still shy. It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't remember having a problem, because to me, I remember thinking, I got to have that item ready to tell
Right,
Santa.
yeah.
So it's
True,
like,
true.
don't, and
Priorities.
also, you don't have a lot of time. There's
Yeah,
like
don't
one
fuck this
line.
up.
So
Yeah.
I always try to at least say one thing. And what's
Right.
really cool, I will say this. There was this big Macy's close by to where I grew up, and there was this wonderful Santa. He looked just like Santa. And my parents, and I was about three or four, and I get my picture taken with him. I guess I was like 4 years old, okay? Because I don't think I was 3, I was 4. And my parents love that picture. It's a great picture of me and Santa. When I met my girlfriend, who eventually became my wife, Carrie, her parents took her to the same Santa.
Oh,
And
wow.
she got her photo at that same Macy's with the exact same Santa. So we
That's
have those
cool.
photos of us with Santa at the same age. That
That's
was
very
really
cool.
kind of
Oh,
cool.
so that works well, because then years later, when the lawsuit happened, you had corroborating evidence.
right.
No, it's a great picture of Carrie in her little furry. She had like this little furry jacket, and
Aw.
I'm like trying, like I look very sharp and dapper, and my little outfit. And after my younger brother, then my parents were like, they're just done with it. Too many kids came along. You can't do that with everybody. So
Right.
I never cried. I never got that. There were always the
No.
kids who would come up and I understand
Oh,
it. I get
yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah,
why are
it's
you
like sensory
why-
overload too?
I'm
Yeah, why
sorry.
do I have to deal with this
No.
person? I never
No.
cried. I was
no,
never.
I never understood it. I thought they were stupid. They were stupid kids.
Yes,
And
right.
it's
Maybe
I
they
agree.
were younger.
My attitude, I remember thinking this as a kid. You are so dumb. This guy,
What?
it's like you have this moment. You have this moment to tell, I would like a Tonka fire truck. I want this space toy. This is your one moment. And you cry because you got to sit on the guy's lap and he's not yelling at you. Anytime I saw a kid crying, and I remember, it made me angry. And I thought they were stupid kids. That was me.
I always felt it was like you're insulting a mafia don. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This guy has so much power over your life.
But if you're really a little kid, though, I didn't create it, but if you're really, really little, it's like this stranger in this bizarre outfit with a giant beard. Like, it can be overwhelming, I guess. I mean, that's
He's not a
I get it.
stranger.
I get
He's
it, though.
Santa. No.
it's like
He's
meeting,
Santa.
No,
you see toy
There's a
Santas
lot of
everywhere.
pressure. There's
He
a
has
lot of
one-
pressure for a
He
kid.
has
you
one
know?
job to give all kids these toys every Christmas, and this is your one time
Right.
to tell Santa.
Yeah.
I mean, stupid. And hopefully, listeners, you didn't cry in Santa's lap. I'm sorry. I'm yelling at you or something.
One thing I did take away from that experience, it wasn't until years later that I started to see Santas with real beards.
Yes.
At the time, it was always a fake beard. And I think as a
Right.
kid, I did recognize, like, that's not a real beard, which made me think it didn't put me off of Santa or make me doubt. I just thought that all Santas wore a fake beard.
Right.
And this was
Right.
sort of like his uniform.
Right. That's funny. I
Yeah.
will say that once I did find out that the parents were the ones buying the gifts, I would look for those gifts in the house. I would bring my sister with me. Hey, when I go look for because we didn't have like a huge house either. So like I was always good at like finding out where they
Yeah,
kept them.
I did that too.
Because but most of the
I
time
would
it
play
wasn't.
with them.
Yeah,
Oh my
I was good about like keeping them where they were. But thing is, there wasn't really much of a surprise. It was more just I was confirming that they were getting what I wanted because I would give them the list and say, "This is what I want." So it wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, they got me this or got me this." I was like, "Okay, they got me that. Good. What else?" I was just checking off, and I would check. Under the steps. It was like we had this basement in Pennsylvania in our house, and a bunch of stuff, stored under the steps going to the basement, and they would hide the gifts under there. A lot of times, before they were wrapped too, they were just like, just the boxes of these toys. I would look at them and find them. I did that. I did that many years.
Were you ever disappointed? Did you ever go like, "Uh-oh"?
No, I don't think so. No, I was like,
You
okay.
had good parents.
Yeah.
You know what I used to get like every year? Spirograph. For some reason,
I got those.
I got
Yeah.
a spirograph.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's entertaining for a little while, but then it's always the same design. It's always the same kind of spiral thing.
Yeah, it's like
then-
Light Bright or Etch a Sketch. It's the same thing. They're
Yeah.
good for a while, but like then it's like,
Yeah.
For some reason, though, I did get a good amount of entertainment from a spirograph.
Yeah.
Because it was also a game. Because you had to be very careful. You had to make sure the little pins,
Right.
pins were in deep enough to hold
Yes.
the little
The paper
wheel.
and the little
Right.
wheel. Yeah.
And then you had to go very carefully because if you skipped, a tread
wrecked
on
it.
the,
You wrecked
it was over. It was
Yes.
done. But Light Bright was like the spin welder. It's like once you made the picture, you're like, oh, that's nice, I guess.
Yeah, the gimmick is over, the thrill is gone. Another thing is if you're the child of divorced parents, you also get into the whole like girlfriend or boyfriend of the parent gift thing.
right.
Like talking about Light Bright, my mother's boyfriend got us a Light Bright, my sister and I. And man, did she guilt us about that. She never let us forget it. I'm amazed that she still isn't reminding us about it. Like he spent his money to get you that Light Bright. Like,
I
thank you.
see.
What am I supposed to do? Like prostrate myself? I was like 8 years old.
Right.
And then in 1976, I was into soundtracks. I was just getting into soundtracks, and I really wanted the silent movie soundtrack, the Mel Brooks movie. And my dad got that for me. And at the time, he was dating a really, really hot woman. And I guess he told her I liked soundtracks, so she got me the soundtrack to Car Wash.
No.
And the soundtrack to a movie with Mark Lester, who played Oliver, called Forever Young, Forever Free. And it was not, I guess it was a kid's movie, but it wasn't on my radar. And it's like, I didn't know who the composer was, Lee Holdridge. So I was like, well, and Car Wash, I wasn't that cool of an 11-year-old that I really wanted to listen to the Car Wash, so it was a little like, well, I guess it's thoughtful of her, but okay.
Right.
It's just one of those memories that sticks out. It's
Yeah.
just like sometimes you appreciate it. You definitely appreciate the gesture, and then
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, along those lines, James, have you
Yeah.
ever had someone in your wheelhouse, like as you get older and people know you guys like monsters or science fiction, and there's someone who just blows you away by getting you something really special?
I'm sure that happened. Offhand, I can't quite remember it.
Yeah, probably.
Well, get this. Christmas 1991. Now,
Ooh.
Hallmark had just purchased the license to make Star Trek ornaments. Now, we all know Hallmark as, the card company. Well, they started to get into making ornaments, but the
Right.
ornaments were very generic. It was,
Yeah.
then they started to get into licensing things. And this was the first year they had the license to Star Trek. And what did they do? They didn't have like a slew of Star Trek. They made one. And it was the classic Star Trek Enterprise. And it was really, really nice. But that was their first ornament. Okay. Well, at the time when this happened, they didn't make a ton of these. And some of these went to their Hallmark stores, but most of these went to, let's say, like a Sears or like a drugstore or something like this.
Right.
And it's not like they made a ton of them. When I was first made aware of this, I went to like every Sears, every place I could find, any place that would sell the Hallmark ornaments, even the little Hallmark stores. I couldn't find it anywhere. It was sold out instantly. Well, wouldn't you know, at that time, my lovely, wonderful brother-in-law, Mark, who was going to college at the time, so he was working as a manager at one of these drugstores. Turns out that they had a little Hallmark display, and they got some ornaments.
Ah.
They were shipped something like four of these enterprises, okay? So I didn't know this, but for 1991 Christmas, Mark got me an enterprise. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Well, Mark got one for himself, and he gave me the other three. So I had three enterprises.
Nice.
And people were clamoring. People were willing to pay like $300. I'm like, I have three of them. I took one out, put that on the tree. The other two I kept in their little box, which I still have in their little box.
Wow.
And yeah, but I still have those enterprises. Those are the
Scrooge
first ones.
McKirk.
But I could Mark. He was like he knew that he liked Star Trek too. He's like a Star Trek fan like me, but he knew I like monsters and science fiction horror stuff. So when something came into the store, he'd pick it up thinking that
That's
I would
great.
like it. And that was, I couldn't believe it. That blew me away. And
That's
I've
incredible.
always been grateful to him for that. But I love my brother-in-law. He's he's now like a bigwig in the tech industry. But back then, to think about me at that time, that was great. So I still love those Christmas ornaments.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's nice when you get it from someone that you didn't really expect. Like, because you're counting on your parents being able to understand the thing that you're asking for, and you would do all the things that you think would help them. Like, you'd circle the page inside the Sears catalog and you go, see that. I mean, there were years where I got something like that, but it wasn't the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And even as a kid, I wasn't the type of kid that was like crying or this is junk.
Right.
They got me something, and it's still cool. It's still fun. Like, I remember wanting the SSP.
SSPs, yeah.
And I wanted the and I wanted the Demolition Derby set.
Oh
I remember that.
And they were great.
Derby?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Smash Up Derby, you got
Those
two
are great.
cars, you got two ramps. It's made for a kid because
My
it's
God,
like
it's
something
perfect
that's
for
gonna be destroyed, and you can put it back together again.
Crash cars together.
Hours and hours
of fun.
I was like,
and you got like the one I had, I think had like a little VW, and then the other one I forget what, a truck or a car or something like that. But that's what I really wanted. And then I got from a relative. It was a car that had a tab on the front, and it looked like just like a regular sedan. And if you would launch it into a wall, the tab would hit the wall, and then all the doors and everything would fly off this thing. So it was cool, but it wasn't SSP.
Smash Up. Yeah, right.
And just for listeners, SSP was this thing where I'm sure you've seen a million toys like this, where they have like a ripcord, and there's a wheel in the middle, and you'd power this thing with the ripcord, and they would go fast.
Yeah.
They would go really fast. And so with the SSP Demolition Derby, you could get these things really going. And when they hit, it would be just a shower of parts everywhere.
It was just such a genius like
It was
smash
so
up derby. It's like,
brilliant.
hey kids, learn how to crash your cars early when you're a kid. It's like,
But so here's where it got good though. Because I get this car and it's not from my parents, it's from someone else. So I think that they told this other person, hey, this is what he wants. And they got the wrong thing.
Right, sure.
Oh.
And so on Christmas Eve, where we would also exchange some presents on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, I get this car, this off-brand car. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, but it's not really,
Right.
And it was like friction powered. I forget exactly, I'm not even sure it was powered at all. But so I get the car, okay. But then for Christmas, I also get the S.S.P.
Nice.
So now I've got a dummy car.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
In the middle, where I could launch both cars at the car, at the third car.
Smash up sandwich.
It was the most carnage that any Christmas ever provided.
That's so cool. Did you guys, having brothers and sisters, was there always the question of like the parents had to get the same amount of gifts for everybody? Because that was the thing. That was the thing with us. Like, okay, your sister got, whatever, seven gifts. You have to get seven
well,
too,
yes and no, because there's different ages. So
okay, right.
Okay.
Look,
for a big family like yours, I can see it's different.
Look, I don't think there's any controversy about this in my family, but we all felt that the first girl in my family, that's the fifth kid. My mom really wanted a girl, so after having four boys, it's like, oh, thank God. And my sister got a lot of
right. She was like the princess of the family.
Not only did she get the dolls, but she got the double-decker bed for the dolls. And the car for the dolls.
Yeah.
And there are times when we're all looking at each other going, what the fuck? and look, we joke about, she's a little spoiled because she was the first girl. And we talk about this at family times. And we talk about it in kind of like a little jovial mood. But let's just say, Sean, that my parents tried to be even. It didn't always work out that way.
Okay. Right. All right.
And also some are older, like the older guys, they wanted a typewriter and not a bunch of dumb action figures, that kind of thing. So
see, I would think though that you'd be able to work that out because like, I don't understand getting like a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old anything good. Like, why would you do that? They're for fucking 2 years old. You can give them the box that some steaks came in, and they're like, ooh, like
my house.
Give them anything. Give them you give them your keys. They love
Get some string.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
The younger kids,
you can save that money and then give it to the older kids. I got lucky because there's a 7-year difference between me and my brother, and 9 years from my sister. So my brother was out, doing his own thing. And so, And so, he got presents and stuff, but I was the guy who was getting toys.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. How about this? Did you guys, I'm trying to remember if I think I had to do this at some point, but were you kind of told by your parents to get something for your sister or brother? Like, did you guys get the brothers and sisters give each other gifts?
At times.
I think I did that. I think I had to, with some prodding from my parents. Like, you should get, you should get your sister something. She should get you something. Maybe, I don't know if it was.
It wasn't consistent in my family.
Yeah, me too.
There were too many of us, Sean. So it's like,
Like, use your allowance to get your sister something. Exactly.
Exactly. I don't like that.
Why don't I just throw my allowance away?
Exactly.
So I will say this, Sean. It wasn't until we all got much older where the idea came up with, instead of spending money, why don't we make each other something like a food item?
Or like a drawing or something.
No. Well,
that's a good one.
So it started. What was nice is that started this whole tradition where a brother or sister would say, "We're going to have Thanksgiving at my house," and Christmas at
Right,
my
right.
other brother's house, and Easter at another brother's house, and so that started that kind of tradition, and everyone would kind of chip in to do a dinner type of thing. And when we all get together, it's loads of fun. Actually, we
Right,
have a lot of good times talking about things that made us angry or happy, and we just laugh and
Right.
laugh, and that's been fun. That
Right,
that is
right.
that is I love. It's so funny. I look at my family now, and I just feel I'm really lucky because for all the miserable times that we had as kids, you never thought that we'd find enjoyment with each other as adults,
Sure.
but we really do. And now,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, and we all have kids now, and
Right,
so
right.
to
Right,
see our
right, right.
kids laughing at the stories that we
Yeah,
tell,
that's
and
good.
to see
Yeah.
our own kids go in a room. Check this out. I will say this: the last time we all got together, the nieces, there's four of them. They all just went out on their own together to go get coffee or something. They just wanted to get away from us, and it's like they had their own little get together. And
Right.
so it made me feel so good that here are all these nieces and nephews
Right.
who are getting together. Hopefully one day when we're gone, they will carry on the tradition of families getting together and
Right,
reminiscing
right,
about
right,
old
right.
times.
Yeah.
So that is nice.
How did you do your Christmas? Because what we did was Christmas Eve, my mom would host it. And there wouldn't be a meal, but there would be cookies, dessert kind of things. And then my mom would make this thing. And this was a tradition. This is crazy, but a thing called prawns Malabar.
Wow.
And it was
that?
it was good sized prawns that were cooked in like a curry, cumin, butter sauce, and it was fucking amazing.
But strange choice for like a Christmas kind of
Oh,
meal.
no.
Right, because they're my mom and dad were into food. They were like
Oh, right, yeah,
caterers, and so there would be that, and then we'd open the presents that were from each other on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas morning would be the presents from Santa, and that's
Yeah.
how
Right,
that would
okay.
work.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
then what would happen is that there'd be the morning, and then that evening we would go to my grandmother's house usually, and that would be
Right.
Christmas dinner.
Right.
But what always got me was that once I had opened the presents, it was over.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So now I have to look forward to going to my grandmother's,
Right,
Oh.
right.
getting there fucking 4 hours before the meal is ready.
Right. Can I bring my toys with me?
Can I bring? Yeah, you can bring.
Yeah,
you can bring
yeah.
one.
Yeah, one toy, right.
Yeah,
Oh.
and you're sitting there and you're just fucking trying to kill time and looking
Right.
at the things that you always glom onto when you visit your grandmother you think are kind of interesting, but then
It's just like,
remember the ceramic horse, and then
Yeah,
you look at that
exactly.
and then it's done.
That's true,
And
you're right.
And then you wait forever, and then finally dinner comes. And with my family, we're Germans, so that was always a laugh riot. You know, and my grandmother, who was a real hard ass,
Right.
she'd bring out the food, and there would always be this kind of like from all the people in the room, especially like the women, this is silent criticizing of like,
Right, right.
you know, they say, oh, these beans, they have a very interesting texture. Like, they hate the
What do you mean by that?
beans. Okay.
It's like you should cut the tension with a knife.
Yeah, right. It's like this weird fucking pinter play that's going
Right.
on in front of you. And the only thing that would save it is that once everyone had some drinks, they'd start
Right,
singing
right.
Oh.
German drinking
Oh
songs.
my god.
No.
Ein Prosit, ein Prosit. And that was-
Yeah.
and I was just like, okay, guys, we know what happens when Germans
Yeah.
get a little too happy.
It's like you just can't wait to get home to play with your Planet of the Apes Mego figures.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so you're just like everything else is just
Yeah.
counting the hours so you can go back to your world.
Now, like kids just get on their phones and text each other, and
Right, yeah.
send
Yeah.
videos, and like they can at least like entertain themselves during all of that, where the parents talk. But back then, as a little kid in the '70s, you're trapped. I mean, you're
trapped,
at the mercy
exactly.
of the adults.
The day my grandmother got a little color TV to put
Right.
in her downstairs sewing room
It's like heaven. Yeah.
saved my fucking life.
Yep, I know. I know.
You know,
Yeah,
one of the things that corresponds to my memories of Christmas is also movies that happen to come out at Christmas time. And the
Okay.
one that stands out the most is Superman from 1978.
Ah,
And
yeah.
like there's movies like just because they come out at Christmas time, it's almost like if movies come out in the summer and it's like, okay, I'm in the air conditioning. I can, it may not be a great movie, but it's still like part of the season and I can enjoy it.
Right.
Christmas, I would give movies a pass. It almost didn't matter. It was like, okay, I'm off school, I'm on vacation. It's nice and cozy in the movie theater. I got popcorn. I don't care. Robert Altman's Popeye, that was one. It's just
Wow.
like I put my brain on hold and I'm just sitting there and I just don't care.
Also, the first Superman movie kind of works that way because of like the Fortress of Solitude out in the Arctic.
Yes.
Right.
It's somehow
Yes.
there's a little bit of a Christmas winter connection there somehow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is really cool. And for this Christmas, we can all look forward to Nosferatu coming out, the new Nosferatu. And so I
I'm
can't
hoping that's
think of a
good. I'm
better
hoping
way
that's good.
to celebrate Christmas with a new Nosferatu movie.
That could be cool.
I can't wait. I really can't.
Yeah, the trailer looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks
It's gotten good buzz.
Yeah.
It's gotten good buzz.
What about I have certain memories about Christmas trees, and most of them involve pets because two things. As a kid, I don't know why it was so messy and it was terrible. We would put the tinsel, like the little strands of tinsel.
Yeah, right.
But when we did that, whatever cat we had at the time would eat the tinsel.
Yes,
mine too.
And
Mine
either
too. Yeah.
throw it up and or shit it out.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
And it would
And then
like
sticking out of its ass, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So that
we
always
had that.
happened.
We
And,
had that.
and also we also had cats that would try to climb the Christmas tree and they would fall over. I mean, that
Yes.
happened pretty frequently.
Wow.
It was like
It happened
was
to
like
me.
yeah.
Yep.
So I always kind of associated our cats with the Christmas trees.
Trying to kill you.
You know,
Because that's when trees were really dangerous.
John,
Yeah.
it's so funny you should bring that up because my wife and I were just talking. I was talking about this exact thing with my mother-in-law. Our cats, and we had a lot of cats in our house. They never climbed the tree.
Really? Okay.
The few times that we did tinsel, we had some bad experiences with the tinsel, and my dad said, "That's it." And one of them was the cat shitting out tinsel coming out of his butt.
It's got to be bad for them
What the
too. I mean,
cats
eating
love-
that.
No, yeah, it's not good for them.
Now,
Yeah.
like our cats love to do was this. Now, again, imagine a Christmas with 7 kids, 2 adults. Kids, you can't you can't do the thing where, okay, Johnny, you open a gift and we'll all watch.
Yeah,
you.
you're exactly.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
That's chaos.
That's insane.
Yeah.
In my family.
It's a war
we all
zone.
get out there. We all rip gifts open at the same time, and
Right.
the paper was scattered all over the living room.
Like in a
The
Christmas
cats-
story.
The cats love to come in.
Oh.
And sit on the wrapping paper.
Yeah, or
They
go under and
loved
play
it.
with it.
They would sit in a box or in the wrapping paper. And
Yep.
Carrie, my wife, had this lovely cat named Peanut, and Peanut would always do that too. But see, the funny thing is with Carrie's family, they were very reserved where they go, okay, let's all watch you open a gift.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Oh, no.
that was
Screw that.
So the funny thing, guys, is like when coming into Carrie's family was so hard. That part was so
Yeah.
hard to sit there with my gifts going,
Right.
I gotta watch you open a gift.
Right.
I just wanted
right.
to get there and rip. Because when my family gets together, it's like total, opening gifts.
Right.
You were talking about the trees.
Yeah.
Can you believe how hot lights were back then?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That were made to put on a tree,
Yeah. I know.
Crazy.
I know.
a
I'm just like,
dry tree.
But
couldn't
no
touch
one,
them.
but no one expected you to leave the tree on all night. It's like,
Oh,
okay,
no.
you
No.
turn off the tree when you go to bed. That's what.
But
Right.
still, I'm surprised we never had a tree catch on fire. I'm surprised.
Did you ever
because-
have them smoke? Did you ever find something
Yes.
smoking?
We did.
Yep. Yep.
We had.
Yeah,
we
that
had
sounds
smoke.
familiar.
Now with LED light, you can keep the lights on from Thanksgiving to New Year's, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah,
it's never
true.
going to get that hot.
Right.
No. Well, at one point, someone decided in my family to get the fake tree.
Right.
So we had a plastic tree,
Right.
but the same lights.
Oh, okay.
So that was a really bad idea because you'd
Yeah.
smell burning plastic.
Oh my God.
Uh,
The scent of Christmas.
Yeah, these fumes going out through the room, and then you're like, "Wow, this is a great Christmas! I feel so happy." Oh, it's because I'm inhaling these fumes from the tree.
Right.
But
Oh.
we'd look at the lights, and they'd have a covering, like wherever that light touched the tree, there'd be this green plastic that would just,
Yes.
envelop it. And man, what a bad idea.
Yeah, it's true. I know.
Well, about the tree, did you guys have like a favorite ornament? Like,
Yeah. In fact, I have still. There's one remaining. It's like a little, very delicate, not even ceramic. I don't know what it's made of, but it's a little gingerbread man, and it has a hole on the top of his head, so you put the light into the head,
that's
so it lights
cool.
up the. And like we had these as little kids, my sister and I think my sister and I now as adults both have one. That's all that remains, and it's just this cool little gingerbread man, and it's cool. And also at one Christmas in there, some point, and I was a little kid in the '70s, there was a little gingerbread house that you put together and painted. And it was
Okay.
just like wood. It was like not balsa wood, but like better than balsa wood. But it was like a,
Sure.
you glue it together, and I painted it, and we still have that. I have it under our tree right now. That's like one thing that
Wow.
I made when I was probably like, 8 years old. That is still in good condition, still intact, and I have that. It has a little female and male gingerbread people like that prop it in front of the house, and that's really cool. So I still have that. So that's one.
So
of the
a cisgender gingerbread house.
yeah. But it's all the little candies on the roof that you paint, like the little striped candy, and
Oh, that's
it's cool.
cool.
But I really had fun painting it, and I did a pretty good job as a kid, so we still have that.
I recently inherited, I think, most of what my parents had for decorations
Oh,
as we were
wow.
growing up. Like we
Cool.
had these. I love these ornaments that are blown glass and they have like there's an indentation in the middle that's like a weird
Yes.
circle. Looks
Yes.
kind of like
Yeah.
the Doomsday Machine.
yes,
Yeah.
from Star Trek. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those were made actually in San Francisco. So there's
That's
that
cool.
connection too. And then I'm not sure. I don't think I own the nativity scene because we had this pretty nice nativity scene that was these molded, it wasn't ceramic, but there was some sort of clay.
Yeah.
And that was always fun to set up, even though I didn't really there was that part in my mind, I'm sure you guys were the same way, where it's like, what would be better is if we set up the Migo Forbidden Zone playset.
Exactly.
And then, the tree topper was the Statue of Liberty, something
Right,
like that.
Oh.
Put a little Santa hat on.
I should do
Urko,
now. Yeah, right.
We had Woolworth's plastic ornaments, but as soon as I was old enough as a kid to realize that those were actually like tiny toys, I was like, wow, Christmas is cool. I still have maybe half a dozen of them. One of them is Topo Gigio from the Ed Sullivan Show. So we're going way back,
Wow.
And they probably cost like 25 cents at the time, but now to me it's like pure gold because that memory from when I was just old enough to really see it, and recognize it for what it was. And now it's priceless.
That
Wow.
is great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, for me, Christmas 1997, and I'll tell you why. Because being a monster fan, I love monsters my whole life, and I love blown glass Christmas ornaments.
Oh yeah.
Now, what happened in 1997? That's when the two worlds collided. That's when Christopher Radko created the Universal Monster ornaments, and these were gorgeous. Blown glass, painted beautifully, and there was the Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Bride of Frankenstein. They came in a beautiful custom box, and it just so happened there was this really cool store by my house called Avery's. It was behind Kitty World, which was a really cool toy store. But Avery's, they normally had fancy plates and dishes and things that you would go like when you would register for a wedding.
Uh-huh.
But every Christmas, or right before Christmas, they did this whole beautiful Christmas setup, and they had a whole set of monster ornaments. And of course, I went there every Christmas. I saw the creature. I had to get the creature, but these were expensive. 1997. It was a long time
It's a
ago.
lot of money. Yeah,
it's a lot of money because these were about $75, $80 a piece. So I got the creature.
Wow.
But
Jeez.
for Christmas that year, my mom got me an entire set.
Oh,
So I have all those. And look, if you're a Patreon member, I did a thing where
That's
I
right.
chose
Yeah,
my
that's right.
Christmas ornaments, and these are my pride and joys. I now have about 4 creature ornaments from the blown glass because
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
it's like what Matt says. I have one just in case, one
Right.
in case. You know,
I have the creature.
yeah. But the funny thing
Well,
is,
yeah.
it's like they're blown glass, and it's like
Beautiful.
if they fall, you know, they can break
That's
and
true.
shatter. So,
Right.
Yep.
So
But like now I think we take for granted all the different pop culture and
Yeah.
monster genre themed ornaments. I mean, now they make everything an ornament, but that wasn't the case back then.
No.
No, and it's like let's face it. When we did our show with Kevin Smith, we talked about
Gift
all
guide,
these other great
right.
gift guides about all the great ornaments out there. Yeah, you can find everything, but it's just in that '97, that was a very special year.
Yeah.
And with those blown glass ornaments, and they're very expensive now to find them on
Yes,
eBay.
yeah, oh,
So
yeah.
they're very precious to me. Also, you know, the set is from my mom. So
Great mom.
Right.
Great
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know, that's the thing about, you know, as collectors and monster lovers, growing up, we had all these monster toys, all these figures, and I'm sure with you guys too, we were buying toys and action figures all year round, but it was Christmas that, you know, you got a lot of the new stuff, the stuff that you really
Yeah.
wanted.
Right.
You got
Yes.
more of it all at once. And
Right.
I really do think like Mego figures, Micronauts, Major
Yep.
Matt Mason figures, Outer Spacemen, the play sets, all that stuff, you know, so much of that was during Christmas that you first got your
Yes.
hands on it. So it's the ultimate toy heaven, you know?
Yeah, it's
For real.
linked. That
Yeah.
holiday is linked with your doorway into all this beautiful collecting.
Yeah, either
Yeah.
starting your collection or finishing off your collection. You know, a lot of that was
If
during
you're
Christmas
lucky.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Christmas for me anyway is like Rosebud and Citizen Kane, where it's like I keep wanting to like, oh, I want to recreate Christmas morning, so I'll keep collecting toys all my
Yeah.
life, and then I've got this warehouse full of like all these toys.
Right. Yeah, true.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up, trying to make the magic of Christmas happen every year. And, you know, I'm sure, James, you remember when we were at Comic-Con in 1999. That's when we saw for the first time the Plain Mantis Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer figures.
Oh,
Our
man.
both
Yeah,
freaked
yeah.
out.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
In 2000, when they came out, I mean, I went nuts. You know, my
Yeah.
wife and I, we bought every figure. But
Gene
let me
and
tell
I
you
too,
guys,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's so cool, guys, is in 2005, Carrie and I had our daughter Kathy, and as
What?
Kathy grew up, every Christmas we would set up all these Christmas figures around the Christmas tree,
Right.
and she would watch us as I would explain things about these are the characters, and we watched it all the time. Well, when she was about 5 years old, I gave her the responsibility of now you're going to set up the Rudolph figures.
Mm.
And it was such a big deal to
Ooh.
her to set these up. It was a big responsibility. Guys, my daughter's 19 now. And just recently, she made a big deal. Dad, I'm going to just set up the Rudolph figures, And I said, okay, honey. And she set them up. And my daughter is so great where she sets them up, chronologically. You start with the Rudolph cave. And as you go around the tree, it's Rudolph's adventure, with Bumble,
Oh, that's
towards
good.
the end.
Right.
So she's very meticulous when she sets these up. But this is a tradition that she and I and Carrie, we've been doing year after year after year. And it's something that I hope that she will carry on, after we're long gone. She loves Christmas
Yeah.
or the Rudolph figures and setting up these figures that we love, that we've collected. It's part of our collection.
Well, those
And
figures, they're like the actual toys and models they used in those specials.
They look
Definitely.
just like them.
Right now, they're all on our mantle in our house too. We have the Rudolphs, the Year Without a Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus is coming to town. They're all amazing.
And
But
there's
it's-
one that I got that is not in the same scale as the rest of them. It's a little bigger, but it's Rudolph, and it's on a piece of ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
that one,
I
I
have
love
it.
that one because it's flocked.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So
cool.
it really
I have
looks
that.
like
Yes, I have that one.
Yeah,
I
and
love
it's
that
about
one.
the size. It's about the scale that the actual puppet probably was.
yeah,
Close
and
to
the
that.
nose lights up, and you have a
Yes.
little
Yeah.
cover for the nose, which
Right.
is
Oh, that's great.
attention
And
to detail.
And what's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool is Playmates made a beautiful Santa that's a larger size, and you can put that Rudolph next to the Santa. And
Oh,
they
cool.
seem to be
okay.
the same
Cool.
scale.
Cool. They're,
But-
they're
but
all
the
so
main
cool.
thing, Sean, it's like we're collectors, and we collected the Rudolph stuff, and I'm handing this tradition off to my
Aw,
daughter.
that's
and she's
great. That's
carrying
great.
on. So
Yeah,
That's
I
really
don't
cool.
know who I'm going to hand this stuff off to, but we're talking about favorite ornaments and things like that. One thing that I have, and it's so odd, but it's something that I really love. It's not even really something all that's amazing, but it just gives me a warm feeling inside when I see it. And that is when I was in Japan, I'm going through this secondhand store, and what do I find? I find a little Ultraman, a cartoony Ultraman Christmas wreath,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Cool.
which is so strange because at that time, at least, I wasn't aware that they were all that into Christmas.
right,
So
right.
to find this thing, and it was, what, a dollar or whatever,
Right.
and that goes up every year. Yeah, it's funny how these things, your decorations, how they almost become in a strange way, like a little member of the family
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that
yes,
Yeah.
visit you every year.
yes.
Yeah, tradition.
Very
Yeah.
much.
Well, maybe
Sorry.
we can make this episode a tradition
I would
and
love
talk
that.
about our Christmas memories every so often, because this has been a lot of fun.
This
Yes,
has been
I
fun,
agree.
and and
This has
because
been
I,
great.
I do have some other grievances I could mention about my family. So yes, we could do this again.
Yes.
Definitely.
We need an episode where Larry can get this stuff out.
That's right.
No, but
Catharsis.
this has been great. This has
It
been
has been.
fun.
Very
just
good.
the four of us,
It's
and
been magical.
I hope
Yeah.
the listeners at home have enjoyed it. Hopefully they can relate, or they can understand,
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
And
We're all kids at heart. We
Yeah.
really
Yep.
are. We really are.
And I think that this is a good time to not only toast Monster Party and each other, but all the fans and the guests that we've had over
Yes.
this past year and the
Yes.
years that we've been doing this show.
Yes.
Yes, and you're going to read them all to us now, Matt, right?
I will.
No, but also all the listeners who've chimed
Yes.
in over the years, and
Oh, yeah.
look, it makes us so happy when we go to something like Monster Palooza or
Yes.
Comic Con or something, and we run into listeners like you and just say, "Hey, thanks for doing what you're doing," and
Yeah.
it
Means the world.
it means the world, and like Sean said, we're all kids at heart.
Yeah.
That's right.
So why don't we raise our glasses and toast the holiday season and Monster Party and you. Woohoo!
Happy holidays, everyone!
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!
Toot, 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 toot.
Jingle bells, jingle, jingle.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout
Shout
out!
out!
Shout out! Shout out!
Do you hear
Holiday
the
shout out!
Holiday shout out.
Boy.
Larry, I think you've got one to share.
Yes, you know what's so cool, guys, and I've brought this up before. Time Tunnel Toys has this toy convention about 4 times a year at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds here in California. And my daughter reminded me that, oh, Dad, we got to go to the toy convention. I'm like, yes, honey, we'll go. So we went together and we're walking around the toy show, looking at all the great toys, all the vintage stuff, all the dealers. And this happens again and again. I'm walking through the aisles and there was this woman who saw that I was wearing a Creature from the Black Lagoon sweatshirt. She goes, "Oh, are you a big fan of the Creature?" And I turn around and I said, "Why, yes, I am." And she said, "Oh, I have a little Creature." She pulls out this little Creature in her pocket, and it's the same Creature that I'd given Kathy when she was born. And
cool.
she
Wow.
sees it, and I said, "Oh, I said the Creature." And then she sees my cap, my wonderful Monster Party cap, and she goes, "Oh, are you Monster Party?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Larry Strothe. I'm one of the co-hosts of Monster." She goes, "Oh, I listen to you guys all the time."
Really?
And so
Aw.
That's awesome.
she talked about how much she loved listening to Monster Party. Her name is Pam. I want to give a big shout out to Pam.
Pam!
And Pam, thank you just for being a fan. It's like, look, Sean, we had talked about, look, kids at heart. Here she was at a toy show. She's
Right.
our age. She's at a toy show looking for new toys or Creature toys or
That's
vintage
cool.
toys. And she's one of us, big Monster fan. And I want to say thank you, Pam, for just, acknowledging me and Monster Party right in front of my kid too, which is great. She's all, "Oh, Dad, look at you,"
That's great.
So anyway, thanks, Pam, for noticing, and please continue to listen to Monster Party. We have a lot of great stuff planned for the new year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy holidays, Pam.
Yay!
Well, I've got one as well. This person was not technically a listener, but he was a great supporter of everything I've ever done, and that is my dad. And my dad passed away on December 8th at the age of 90. And it wasn't completely unexpected. He had this was like his third stroke, but it's a time for me to certainly, in the family to look back on his life and to celebrate it. And he had an amazing life. He was a bouzouki player, which is the Greek instrument that a lot of people only know from the Monty Python cheese shop sketch.
Right, yeah.
And he emigrated from Greece to New York back in the 60s when Greek nightclubs were in vogue because of movies like Never on Sunday and Zorba the Greek. And he actually he was really, really good at it. Ultimately, he was like the Jimi Hendrix of the bouzouki. He could like play it behind his back. And I'm not even exaggerating. He was like the best bouzouki player in the country. And the pinnacle of his career was in 1983 when he toured with Anthony Quinn in the Zorba musical revival.
Nice.
Wow.
And, dad was not a shy person. And that was the height of his career. And he was going to completely enjoy it for everything it was worth. And he went to all these events. And he had this little crappy Kodak Instamatic camera, but every time there was a celebrity, he would take a picture with the celebrity with this Kodak Instamatic. And that year, 1983, the Kennedy Center Honors was honoring, one of the honorees was Elia Kazan, the director of On the Waterfront and Streetcar Named Desire, and he was Greek. So they had the cast of Zorba, including my dad, perform at the Kennedy Center in Washington.
Wow.
And Dad really wanted me to go with him. So I'm hanging out backstage. And, I mean, you're not supposed to ask celebrities to take pictures of them, especially with a crappy Instamatic camera. But here I was taking pictures for Dad. And he walks into the backstage arm in arm with Burt Lancaster. And I'm thinking, why does Dad look like he's dating Burt Lancaster? And I would only find out years later that it was because Burt Lancaster at the time had a bad back, so Dad was helping him get around. But I would be I'd be taking pictures with Dad with like Warren Beatty and Gene Kelly and Carol Burnett, and they were all very nice. But he was the only person who was doing that backstage. There's the hundreds of people back there.
Do you have those photos? Those photos?
I do. Yeah,
We've got to see some of
digitize those.
Yes, I'll post them. My favorite picture of Dad was at a Broadway opening where Leonard Bernstein was at the party, and Dad was sitting there with Bernstein at a table, and they were writing these musical notes on the tablecloth. And he had a wonderful career, but more than anything else, he was a big member of the Greek community, the Greek American community in New York, because he and his band played hundreds of weddings. So every diner we went to, they were all owned by Greeks. So every diner we ever went to, the owner, Dad played at his daughter's wedding or his cousin's wedding or whatever. So he would sit with us. So every time we went to a diner, we would never eat by ourselves. The owner would always come and join us.
Wow, that's amazing.
Great.
And then he retired. And when I started working at Playboy, I think he got a kick out of that. And every time I ever introduced him to a playmate, he would kiss them on the mouth. And I'd be like, Dad, because he was already a senior citizen and he knew he could get away with it. And it's like, Dad, that's not really cool. And then I would apologize to the playmates, And finally, I got him into a Playboy Mansion event. It was a Super Bowl party. And I thought he'd be like running ragged all over the place. But instead, all he did was he sat by himself in the game house, calling everybody he knew, telling them, hey, I'll bet you never guess where I'm calling you from.
No.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Terrific.
He was a real charming guy and a total love for life. And, talking about Christmas time, back when we were little, he would take us on Christmas Eve. We lived in Queens, but he would drive us to Manhattan and we would go look at the windows at like Saks Fifth Avenue and Tiffany's. And
Mhm.
And it would end with going to the Rockefeller Center tree where we would look at the skaters. And he would always take us to the Radio City Christmas show. And as a kid, I think I took a lot of that for granted because I couldn't really appreciate it. But now it's like I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, it's a process, and you guys know that
Yeah.
it's not easy.
No.
And you have moments, and I'm just, and you go through these things, and you have a sense of sobriety and a sense of, okay, well, yes, he was 90, and his quality of life wasn't great, and now at least he's not suffering. And
Yeah.
that's all that's the pragmatic part. And then celebrating his life, that's a very conscious part. But then there's a soft underbelly to it that sometimes catches you when you're not
Yeah.
Sure.
prepared for it. And there's a Christmas song by Jerry Butler, a soul singer, that he did called Little Red Shoes. And it's about a dad singing to his little boy, or the dad singing to his grown son. And the sentiment is, well, you're grown now, but you'll always be a little boy to me under the Christmas tree. And I I always knew that whenever, even before Dad passed, I knew that I couldn't hear that song without, Niagara Falls, right?
Right.
And
Right.
now I'll never touch that song with a 10-foot pole because it's going to devastate me. So that's
Yeah.
like he adored me and my sister. Like we were of all the passions in his life, he had none to surpass his love for me and my sister and his undying support and enthusiasm for us. And man, I so appreciate that now. And I always have, but now and especially. So anyway, thanks for letting me share all that.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you guys say we give a toast to James's father?
To Foti Gonis, also known as Frank Gonis, amazing musician and entertainer and person and father. Cheers.
Here, sir. Cheers.
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 Now, we've talked on this episode a lot about Christmas presents and holiday gifts, and I know it's probably too late right now to get a last-minute gift for your loved one, but
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Nicely done.
if you want to plan ahead for maybe next Christmas, you might consider Monster Party merch from our eBay store, which is called, you guessed it, Monster Party Store. On eBay, you can find the Monster Party t-shirt, the Monster Party shot glass, the Monster Party PPE cloth mask, and the legendary Monster Party baseball cap with more stitches than even Santa can count.
Oh,
That's right.
man. Yeah. With all those things, that's a full sack.
And speaking of full sacks, if you also happen to be a Patreon member and purchase Monster Party merch, Santa will throw in some free surprise goodies courtesy of our elves, Jason Lindsay at Biff Bang Pow Toys and foam faber extraordinaire Ted Haynes.
Also, 2 great sacks.
So, I mean, it's Patreon. For some reason, every 2 weeks, I know you remind me about it, and it just flies out of my head like the reindeer.
You've been going through a lot. This one, I'm going to let go.
Oh, thank you. Let it slide, please. I appreciate it. What can you tell me about Patreon, Matt, to refresh my memory?
Okay. Well, unlike a box you would open on Christmas Day with only one present, Patreon is a box containing a veritable Santa's workshop of Monster Party bonus content, minus the shitty hand-painted hardwood rocking horse. Now, we're talking special audio episodes, our exclusive shows like Monster Party Masterpieces, our popular Toy Time series, and Monster Party on the Road. We also have loads of behind-the-scenes convention footage, the long-form video diary of our legendary Japan trip.
Oh, so good.
Oh, so memorable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we have vintage horror and sci-fi fiction edited by our resident Lie-Scarian, John Bordeaux, and so much more.
Wow. Well, that sounds like the making of many, many memories and Christmas memories yet to come. But this time of year, Matt, everybody's tapped out. Nobody's got
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this bounty is affordable. How much does it cost?
Okay, well, for the price you'd pay me to plan your holiday staycation that involves a bong, PB&J, and a human centipede marathon, you could become a Monster Party patron, and that price is just $5. $5 a month.
What?
That's a bargain. I mean, you can't get a talking G.I. Joe Adventure Team Commander ringtone app for that price.
Oh,
No,
that's true.
Someone should offer that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm sold. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. How does one sign up?
Well, all you have to do is you go to patreon.com, you then go to Monster Party, you click join, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, you'll be as happy as a partridge making sweet, sweet love to a pear tree.
Well,
Nice.
Speaking of sweet, sweet love, we are on social media. We are on Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube at Monster Party TV, Twitter at Monster Party HQ, now called X, and Instagram at Monster Party HQ. And hey, whatever platform you're listening to us on, please take a moment, send us a review. Would love to hear your thoughts, and we will read them on the air.
And we won't just read your review, we'll remember it and keep it in a special place in our hearts right up until a better review comes along. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Strothe.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And we wish you the best of holidays and a happy new year.
And if you see some tinsel hanging out of your cat's ass, pull it. Your cat'll thank you.
I have just great stuff. Just simple holiday gold, holiday festive spirit stuff.
I don't know if I have that, but
I have stuff.
But you see,
I have stories.
No. But see, that's why we have a good show, because some of us have to carry the weight of having heartfelt, holiday cheer.
Someone needs to have feelings on the show. So
Yes.
I guess you are the
Yes.
designated feeler.
Yes, and
That came out wrong.
No.
Designated feeler.
The designated feeler.
Which was my my nickname in college. Hey,
Wait, maybe that's not funny though. The feeler in college? I don't know about that.
yo, you're picking up on this. You are
That's,
as sharp as a
that's-
tack tonight.
That's P. Diddy's other non.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
he went,
I did.
He went through a lot of names before.
Yeah.
He,
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that. Well,
I know.
just goes
There's
to
a
show you.
lot of breaking news on this show.
Yep.
So let's see. Here comes James. Right down James Lane. All right, wait a minute. Hold on.
Ah,
This is
now we
getting
have-
better.
Oh no.
It almost looked like it was going to happen.
I don't get it.
Because
You know what?
on my end it says there's nothing wrong with your camera.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Let's see.
Hold on.
Well, we can hear you, okay, James. So if we have to, we can do it.
We have
without-
to. We can do that. But
Yeah.
I would
Wait a minute,
rather
wait.
look at your
No.
smiling,
is-
grumpy face.
I have a different laptop. I can just switch to the other laptop.
Hey,
Hey,
Is it affecting,
We're
as long as
geniuses.
it doesn't affect the audio.
no, it's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You know what?
Maybe
fuck
it's
it.
the
Let
Greek
me-
government.
and while you're doing something, I'm just gonna grab something. Okay,
Okay.
grab something.
Godspeed.
Okay.
He is the designated
I'll be-
feeler.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something too, but I won't go into that.
Go ahead. It's the holidays.
My laptop is literally on my lap, so now every time I talk or move, you guys are going to
Or
get an
laugh.
earthquake vibration.
Okay.
So I
It's okay.
apologize for that.
So
Okay,
they
so
don't
wait.
make tape. They don't make tables in Greece. I'm sorry.
But it's
Not-
it's very jolly. It's like oh,
whatever you want to do. You know.
Wait,
I'll
so
just try-
James, what time is it there then? Right now?
It's 4:15 a.m.
Oh my God. Okay.
You'd be getting up anyway.
Okay.
You get up and you do your morning ritual, and you're the designated feeler of Greece, so you have to go make your rounds. Great.
And this is officially called the Monster Party Holiday Memories, right?
Holiday Memories 2024.
Monster Party Holiday Memories 2024. Okay.
And this will be posted like right before Christmas. So people, they'll be sitting with their little slippers in front of the fire with their little warm cocoa.
Unless they're homeless, then they'll be sitting next to a burning garbage can.
True.
Trying to
listen to the show.
Get the
That's the important thing.
gangrene out of their toes.
Or the gout.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Sure.
Like right down the corner from this hotel, there's a bakery, and they have little tables outside, and there's a homeless guy. He's old.
Yeah.
He's got a beard and everything. And he's sitting at that table in front of the cafe, whether it's open or closed, 24/7. And he's looking at his cell phone. It's like, okay, well, he's homeless, but he's got this cell phone.
Wow.
He's got his
Weird. Yeah.
And wouldn't it be interesting if you looked at what he was looking at and it was like Taylor Swift and, like.
I didn't share this on the show, but when you have a sister, she has girl toys, and my GI Joes and her Barbies would always like date, and he would go visit her playhouse, her townhouse.
No,
and she would ride in his Jeep, and but in the mid 70s, I want to say I was maybe 11, and she got the big Christmas toy at the time was a fashion doll called Tiffany Taylor, and this thing was bigger than a Barbie. This thing was like 24 inches tall.
Okay.
And for the first time in my prepubescent life, I started to have feelings that were new to me from this Tiffany Taylor doll.
Oh my God. That was like, I imagine it was like, hey, who drilled a hole in my Tiffany Taylor doll?
She was really glamorous. She looked like Cher, and it was like, oh wow!
I don't remember.
I honestly
this.
did not know what I was experiencing. I was like, wow, okay, okay.
Yeah. Emma Peel did that for me, but wow, that's
Right. That's funny.
Julie Newmar for some, I guess, but
sure.
Yes, sure.
I get it.
You know what? It's funny you should bring that up. I had like a crush on Anne Francis, but they came out with a doll of her for the what's it, Bunny?
Oh, Honey West.
Honey
West.
And,
Honey West.
Yeah,
and
that doll's pretty
the doll
cool.
looks weird.
Oh, does it?
Her
It does not look anything like
I
that.
like the box. I remember seeing the box for it is really cool because it has
The box is great, yeah.
Her head looks like she's, special.
Like more doll-like?
No, not doll-like. She's born with some kind of
defect or something.
thing. Like,
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a number of there's some Doctor Who figures and some Ultraman, very old Ultraman characters where you look at the box art and you're like, this is going to be the greatest toy ever, and then you open the box and the head is like they just found a doll head on the street,
Right?
Just nailed it on. Good times.
Good times.